Go hide in the lot. Collect the cardboard rent. Christ almighty.
Johnny Fletcher busted into a farmhouse on his property.
You bring me back that stuff.
Well, look what we're here. Please don't kill me.
Gentleman John Fletcher! Damn it!
Johnny Fletcher! Don't make me chase you! I didn't kill nobody. I didn't make that man. Bounty hunter. Here.
Out of the night that covers me, black is the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade. And yet the menace of the years finds, and shall find me, unafraid. It matters not how straight the gates, how sharp the punishments scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
My lord, I report. Our latest assassination attempt on Lady Nocturne has failed.
I can see stronger measures on the images. Begin phase 2.
Captured! The notorious Lady Nocturne has been brought in through the valiant efforts of the Void Cobras.
Get on the damn person.
Take 5 steps and stop and turn your right.
But the pirates of Velix Mortis are far from the field.
My lord, I have a report.
Let's cut to the chase, since we both know that this isn't a social call and you didn't come here to waste time.
Fine. I command as gambling that the attempt on your life by your so-called friends has made you willing to cooperate. Am I wasting my time now?
What fate will befall the disgraced former pirate?
The Minotaur sends his regards, traitor.
What does your high command want, and what are they offering in return?
High Command wants many things, but it wants a show of good faith first.
Fire Team 1, move up. Fire Team 2, covering fire.
Bravo Team 1, push up. Bravo 2, give us support.
What next for now infamous mercenaries, the Void Cobras?
I want every last pirate I used to run with dead. I don't want to be watching over my shoulder every hour of every day.
Now you die!
Will the Void Cobras become targets of Lady Nocturne's former pirate comrades?
Attention, crash override. This is Freighter Ebony Hawk. My ship just lost all power and thrust. We're going down. Mayday, mayday, mayday.
There truly is no honor among thieves. You rabble will turn on each other at the slightest provocation.
Okay, fine. Moving past you.
Find out on the next episode of Star Citizen Nocturne.
Jameson, you copy?
Touch me now, I don't want to live without you. Nothing's gonna change my love for you.
Jameson, we require immediate emergency extract.
I don't know, man. It looks kind of hot over there.
Of interest in my life to idiots.
Okay, got it working, Sarge.
Alright, Corporal. Good work. Follow me! Y'all remember what Sarge said? Stay together, keep comms clear, and heads on the swivel. Clear. Okay, we're gonna secure it, then sweep the entire ship for survivors. Channel, you take point.
god, oh my god!
Get the hell out of here!
Get him off me, get him off me, get him off me! They're getting in my armor! Ah!
I got into collecting bounties when a gang of bandits bushwhacked my wife, my best friend Coyote, and me. Meet the Jones brothers.
To take a look at the situation in which you find yourself.
That's Joshua.
Gonna have real bad.
What's the Indian word for
Next to him is Rufus the Doofus.
Heck, I don't know.
You're just trying to make me look dumb.
Alright, I want to
Next
see
to him is
on the
Lyman.
ground.
Remember those faces.
And 6.
You'll see him again.
8 hands praising Jesus.
The other ones, well, ain't no use in introducing. They're all dead.
Run! Obadiah, get the saddlebags! I got it!
I later discovered the Jones brothers were all wanted men. I figured I might as well get paid for taking my revenge.
Man, we still want it for justice. Post is still on the wall?
So I hunted down the ones we didn't kill. Lyman, he sang like a bird. Rufus and Joshua were smuggling contraband down the river. Always to the same spot. I found a nice perch on a bluff above the river where I knew they would eventually be. During the war, I was a sharpshooter. Coyote's Whitworth came in handy. For weeks, I tracked them. Then I killed them.
If you like our content, we'd appreciate if you'd like, subscribe, and get notifications. Help us extend our reach by sharing our video content. And if you want to help us beat the algorithm, also leave us a comment on some of our videos.
What's up, bro? I don't know why I can't hear you. Can you hear me? I can't hear you at all. That sucks. Does that make any difference? Nope. Should I try and go out and come back in? I can just make notes throughout this thing and just hold them up. Let me see if you Okay.
Yeah, I feel like Elon Musk and Ron DeSantis. Except I'm not a piece of shit. I'm gonna try and leave. Should I try to leave the chat and come back in? Is that a yes or no? I can't hear you. Brutal. Can you hear me all right? I still can't hear you. Man, that's brutal. Oh, he said it's not you, it's me. You have a story of my life. Sound like all my ex-girlfriends. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Cliff.
I can.
Are we all hearing the echo?
Oh, really?
That's what I hear.
Tim is. I think he says it's on his end. He's messing with it. But I think we're both hearing twice. That way nobody will miss anything.
Is that this show's live up top? Are we live?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all right.
It's okay.
I think
I'm usually the queen. So.
Oh man. He's working on it. Can you still hear me, Jessica?
I hear you, yeah.
Oh, I can hear you without an echo now.
Yeah, me too.
So that's progress. So Jessica and I can just talk without Tim, and we'll just do our,
There we go. Well, it's our show now, Tim, buddy.
Congrats. We have our own show now.
This is the 14th now Sons of Liberty launch show. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Yeah, just take it away until he's online.
Cliff is coming to us from somewhere in the middle of the ocean, and I'm in a secret hiding place. And we're all going to be. We need millions of people there. On what date, Cliff, in Washington D.C.? What day are we going back?
I don't know about the new date yet.
March 14th. Of course, March 14th.
Oh, okay. All right.
Cliff missed the conference call
because
he's on his cruise ship.
Right.
But Cliff is part of the original 14th Now crew. Yes.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no echo.
No echo.
All right, I said I was going to do this show without swearing, so fiddlesticks.
I don't think you have to do that.
It's okay. As long as it.
I gave my word. I was warned by my staff. They were like, "Don't be your usual self. Jessica's not that kind of person." And I was like, "Okay, got it."
So I went on Jessica's show and I cursed. So.
Yeah, it's even been slipping out of me recently, so it's all right. If it slips, you're forgiven.
Yeah.
I made no such I made no such promise.
Same.
By the way. But I will follow the lead of Big Sarge. Hey guys, I don't know what I missed. Sorry I'm late. Drill Sergeant here. Nice to meet you guys. Happy to have you guys.
Happy to be here.
Weren't as late as me.
Ditto. Yeah.
Oh, so we're all ate up. All right. Outstanding.
I was having a meltdown for like a whole 10 minutes. It was not good.
Oh, what happened?
No idea. I couldn't get my mic to work at all. But people were hearing the sound loop through something. So it was duplicated. So I'm not really sure what was going on, but I guess it's fixed now. So I literally just did a sound check at like 6:30. I was like checking my mic and everything was good to go. And something happened. I don't know what it was, but anyway, so Jessica and
my specialty, Tim, is talking when I'm muted. So I've gone on for like 5 minutes muted, just full hand symbols, so sign language.
Oh, awesome.
So another occurrence we see here on the show. So
yeah,
no worries.
Well, since we're on this, I had a interview yesterday or the day before. I'm lost. I don't remember in days anymore. It's all just one big day. But a while back, I had an interview, and during the interview, I pressed before it even started. I pressed record, and it says, you are now recording. And the person was like, "Hey, are you sure that we're aren't we just like kind of talking first because we were going through what we're going to talk about?" And I said, "Yeah." The time before this, I did the entire interview. No record press. Done. Finished. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. We're definitely going to have you back.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
Nothing was recorded. So
that's like losing a final paper in college. Yeah, not saving it.
Oh yeah. And in such a way that you can't get it back. Like you're going to have to rewrite that thing. But yeah, so it was tough. We have all been through there. So mine is the worst. I win.
Yes, you win.
So when I was temporarily muted and you guys took over, you mentioned that you're having a protest plan for March 14th. Is that right?
That's right. Well, that's kind of how Cliff and I got to know each other. We were both in the same space of consciousness between the election and January 6th. Like, first of all, we should have the guts to do some election hygiene and make sure Trump actually won, for God's sakes. And number two, he's constitutionally disqualified. This has never changed. So I spoke about this extensively on my show Lights On with constitutional scholars. Bottom line, the man remains disqualified. That is not a status that has been removed. It would take a vote of 2/3 of Congress to do it. It has not been done. He's an illegal president. Everything he does is illegal. Cliff was involved with me before January 6th. We were in D.C. We spearheaded these protests trying to get Congress to uphold their oath and block the certification of Donald Trump, because that is and was their duty. And they failed, every single one of them, across the aisle. Such a disgusting tragedy. But my God, what are we, 3.5 weeks in, 4 weeks in? And it's just like, the Constitution's on fire. This has to be stopped. And so I've been involved in the 50-50 protests. I was in DC yesterday at the Capitol, spoke and kind of did a soft launch, and we're getting the same core group of organizers together, but hopefully with much more amplification this time. We need millions of people in DC on March 14th. The inverse of 14.3, which is 14th Amendment, Section 3, 314. So we're going to do this again on 314 in Washington, D.C. I would say that what's different about this march is we've got to use every legal lever to get this man out of office now, right now. We cannot
Yes.
just resist this for the next 4 years. This man has to go. He committed impeachable offenses on day one. He is an illegal president. He has got to go. So, that's the messaging I'm pushing 100%. I think Cliff's on board.
Yeah, and I just to sort of tack onto that, I think we've got, there's several things happening right now. There's this economic blackout on the 28th. There's the generalstrikeus.com where they're trying to get people to sign up for a general strike, and then that's going to actually start to take place once enough people are on board. There's all these things happening, and I know that we're going to do the March 14th protest. There's other protests I'm sure that are happening. At the end of the day, I feel like the fuse is pretty short. I'm trying to word this in the most online safe way. The fuse is short for us to continue being nice. Us protesting is us being nice. Us striking is us being nice. Us boycotting their companies is us being nice. And they need to understand that at some point, if they keep ignoring us, they meaning leaders on both sides and the legal levers that should and could stop this, there's going to come a time when we're going to stop being nice. And everyone on both sides of this issue needs to understand that and really use their imaginations as to what that could mean.
So, I want to kind of talk about that, but in a way that's outside of exactly what you're saying, right? It's in a way that doesn't telegraph the type of thing that'll get you cut off. The idea that I was presenting to some of right-wing friends when I used to have them, that yeah, they've all gone. So the idea that you giving a safety net, the idea that you providing SNAP or you providing a decent schooling for people, decent jobs, minimum wage, all of these things you would call, I'm talking to them now, would call a handout. It is a nanny state. These are things that you feel that shouldn't be done, and people who can make it will make it, and those who don't fall off by the wayside. And I said, it's because you don't understand the interconnectedness of humanity. You see, you really believe that gate means something. You really believe that river and that lake you live by and that side of the mountain and that beautiful forest means something to you until you realize that no one else around you has anything to eat, has any recourse, or any education. And all of a sudden, your mountain will need to get higher and higher and higher before the interconnectedness of humanity falls upon you and breaks down that gate, fills up that water, and crushes whatever things you think make you different. And if you just take that idea to the political, where we are now, there's only so much recourse marching. There's only so much that you're going to have, whether we do it or not. So it's not meant as a threat. It's just meant to back up what Cliff was saying. There's only a certain amount of time where people who are hungry or people who are left out or people who see their whatever it is they used to have being taken from them from an unknown doge, from some unelected people, before it gets beyond where you're going to be able to stop it, right? And my goal or my hope is, how do we impart that onto these fine and decent people in Congress that includes their gate? Like, doesn't matter what side they're on. That includes their gate. That includes their lawn and their home and their Capitol building. If they didn't notice that on the 6th, it's not hard. It's not hard to find. And if they don't do something about that, that imaginary gate that they have will not stop what's coming if they don't join in with the peaceful side of it. That's my big question. How do we impart that to them? Because it seems like that part goes over their head. That idea that they're a part of this on the good or the bad side.
I have one idea that I think is a pretty good one, and then I'll let somebody else talk. One of my ideas, I think it's the best idea I've had during this whole madness, is, we've had these 50-51 protests. That's in every state capital in every state in the United States. That's the first time that's ever happened in the history of our country that people have gathered in every state to protest a sitting president. Never happened before. And not only were they in every state capital, in some states, they were in almost every city. Yesterday, when this happened again, they were in small towns. I mean, a couple thousand people in towns under 100,000 in population, all over the country. And almost no one in the media is covering it at all. So I think something that could really make a difference is the next time we do that, instead of going to our state capitals, we go see Fox News at 1211 Avenue of the Americas in Midtown Manhattan. Thousands of us. We go to Newsmax at 750 Park of Commerce Drive in Boca Raton, Florida. Thousands of us. We go to CNN at 190 Marietta Street Northwest in Atlanta, Georgia. Thousands, 10,000, however many. And our signs say, ignore us when we're outside your fucking window. Excuse my language, Jessica. And that needs to be the energy is, can you see us now? Because you didn't want to report on it when we were at every state capital in this country that you're supposed to cover. Can you cover it now that we're outside your fucking door and we're beside your car in your parking lot and we're blocking your parking lot and we're blocking your road and we're banging on the doors of the front lobby? Can you see us now? And I think that is a ballsy, in your face statement that's not violent, but it is set to make people a little uncomfortable because they deserve to be. They deserve to be uncomfortable because they're being cowards and they're not being journalists and they're not standing up for the citizens of this country, and they need to feel uncomfortable, like, because we do every day.
And it's certainly been said that.
Heard a better idea. That's.
I was going to say that it's certainly never been the case that you get any change by letting people be comfortable, by letting people do what they want and just, throwing your opinion out there. If you're not obstructing, if you're not getting into people's faces with it, if you're not bringing your message to them, they're going to ignore you. Why would they listen to you otherwise? If it's convenient for them to just go, yeah, whatever, going about their day, it ain't going to change.
Yeah.
So here's a hypothetical. I'm going to say a thing, and I want to see what the reaction is, because it's been brought up before, and people were like, "Oh no, you can't do that." Do you guys remember, what was it, about 2018, 2019, when the whole Boogaloo boys were doing their protests at the state capitals, and they were showing up in their tactical manatee gear? Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Let me rephrase it. They were showing up with their rifles and plate carriers and little helmets and walkie-talkies and Hawaiian shirts. You guys remember that? The pictures?
Oh yeah,
I do, because we posted about it on our Facebook page, and we got goon swarmed by Boogaloo boys. They were like, "You can't talk about us that way." So naturally, that just encourages more. Anyway, what do you guys think about what if the left started doing something like that? Just, showing up to protests peacefully, but in states where it's permitted, they're armed. If they want to be. Like,
it's a great
you don't
idea.
have to show up. Like, don't show up if you don't, if you're not comfortable with that. But obviously, if you are, then, And the reason that I say that is because. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You were talking first.
The reason that I say that is because you were talking about what can we do to get them to pay attention. And the thing that I remember from those protests was These guys were ass mad about something. I can't remember exactly what it was. I knew at the time what they were protesting, but it was the fact that they showed up and they stood on the steps of the state capitol and nobody messed with them. Not anybody on the left, not the cops. They didn't have a license to protest. They hadn't a permit or any of that. They just showed up and they stood there. And that was it. That's all they did. They protested and nobody messed with those guys. And at the time, everyone was like, these guys are protesting with their guns. Well, what are they talking about? And then, that was the thing. I think they were protesting.
You can do that. You can do that in places other than DC. Definitely don't bring weapons to Washington, DC.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Right.
But,
when we did the
but I want to say something just real quick.
January, we said that.
Yeah, but what Cliff said the other day, which I think is an excellent idea, people need to be showing up in their law enforcement uniforms, in their military uniforms. Like, we need to show I know that we are backed by so many people who serve this country, who don't want any part of this. They need to show, you know how many federal workers were at the Capitol yesterday, like coming out, putting their jobs on, putting everything on the line, saying, I'm here, I'm a federal worker. Let's have the members of our military come to these protests in their uniforms. Let's have law enforcement come to these protests in their uniform. This is a man who pardoned individuals convicted of seditious conspiracy on day one of his administration. We can have some service members of this country who are against someone being in the Oval Office who committed treason show up, honor that oath, proudly display your patriotism and your service, come to these protests in uniform.
So I don't disagree with that at all, but I'm going to say something from my perspective as a veteran, a former professional non-commissioned officer in the United States Army. And I realize the caveat up front is that these are desperate times, aka desperate measures, and the rules have completely changed. So
okay, retired
just
military.
be aware.
Somebody's correcting me. Retired.
It has to be retired. It has to be veterans.
Yeah, if you show up and you're on active duty and you show up to a protest in your uniform and you're not a general officer, because we've seen general officers show up in uniform to support Trump, and people are like, what are you doing at that thing with your uniform on? What? You're going to get fired. And nothing happened to them. But if you're not a flag officer and you show up, if you're just like, an average specialist in the E4 Mafia, you show up in your uniform,
that's a no-go. Don't do
now,
that.
having said that, if you had thousands, tens of thousands of guys showing up in their uniforms and they were led by generals, full bird colonels, you had your sergeants major out there, a couple of first sergeants saying, get off my grass. I feel like that would go over a little differently. The military trying to punish tens of thousands of people at one time.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Now, yeah.
I wouldn't put it past them, but it would look different than a punishment. I wouldn't put it past them, but it would be we have to do this. So
we're not giving you an Article 15, but you're definitely cutting grass for the rest of your life.
Right. Everybody's on detail for the next 6 months, but I'm not going. Yeah, that's what I wouldn't put it past them, but it'd be a lot harder to really go hard. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I was just going to say, since I put my foot in my mouth with, military procedure being violated here, Cliff, clarify what your suggestion was the other day.
So I only know this actually from talking to Tim and some other veteran friends, is that active duty, like part of the rules they have to abide by is that they have to be politically neutral. So like an active duty lower ranking officer can't show up to any political protest in uniform. But what I was thinking a two-part strategy, and let me kind of start at the beginning. Reason I think this is so profound and so important is because I do think there's going to come a time. I don't think that we're entering oligarchy. We're in it. I don't think we're entering dictatorship. We're in it. They are ignoring laws. They are firing important people. I mean, nuclear inspectors, flight safety people, like 3,500 park rangers yesterday, the inspectors generals of all of the departments and organizations that root out fraud. So this is, and we all know this, but I'm saying this for the average viewer. Obviously, Doge isn't to root out fraud. They're getting rid of everybody that would audit fraud.
Right.
We are fully in autocracy right now, and it's a game plan and a playbook, and they're going step by step. And so far, it's working, and no one is stopping them. So I do think that they're gonna push enough buttons. They take away enough veterans benefits. They take away enough social safety net from people. Prices get high enough, et cetera, et cetera. There's gonna be a tipping point where the American people are gonna show up in scary numbers that scare them. They won't scare us, but they will scare the people who are in power. And I think they are going to want to use the military against the American people. And I think we need to be preemptive about showing them that it won't work, showing them and showing our allies around the world and showing our general citizenry that, hey, even if they try, it's not going to work, because look here, 10,000 uniformed veterans just showed up to DC last week saying that they oppose this presidency. And the other part of it, so I'm advocating for a uniformed veterans protest, like massive numbers. It could be another 50-51, or it could just be DC, whatever. The nuances can be worked out. The other idea I had is, because these active duty have to be politically neutral, instead of getting them to show up, we circulate a petition that could be very benign and very easily accessible. It could happen completely online through moveon.org or one of these petition signing websites. And it's not partisan. It doesn't say anything about Donald Trump. It doesn't say anything about political parties. It says, I, John Smith, sign this petition stating I will not ever use force against the American people. I will not ever do anything that goes against the United States Constitution. I will not ever do anything that goes against U.S. democracy. And that, and I think, what if we got 100,000 young service members to sign that? And if anybody's pissed off about it, then you go, well, all they said is they're going to honor democracy, honor the Constitution, and not hurt their fellow Americans. Why on earth would you be angry about that? So some explaining to do. If that bothers you, what the fuck is wrong with you? So I think it's very important in this last chapter of the nice phase to show the American people that Trump doesn't have the support that he pretends to. He doesn't have just this holistic support of all service people, active and retired. That we show them, hey, here are people that are against this, and you need to be less scared than you are now. That will make more people show up to protests. It will make our allies feel emboldened and less intimidated by all of this. It will make them scared. We have to show strength in ways that they'll understand, because ultimately they're arrogant and they're stupid, and that's a terrible combination. But when someone's arrogant and stupid, you almost have to show them with pictures. And I think doing something this profound and simple will be more effective than words or congressional speeches.
I'm going to throw two names at you for this idea that you're discussing. Number one, Mark Milley. And then number two, James Mattis.
Yes.
You got to get
Kelly either.
I want to say yes, but I also
didn't hear the last name, Cliff.
John Kelly. I mean,
John
even
Kelly.
if one of those people helps us.
So, Jessica, you were, I don't want to make you uncomfortable at all. You were, 2016, you were on the Trump campaign, is that right?
Oh, this is really uncomfortable for me. No, I'm kidding.
I can rewind it.
It's uncomfortable for me.
Yep. I know the whole brainwashing vortex. I know it well. Yep.
So, did you ever get a chance to meet General Mattis?
No, unfortunately, I met General Flynn, General Kellogg, and another guy named General Misuzawa. Trump had his generals on the campaign in 2016, and those were the three main ones. So I meant mostly my sharpest recollection is just the pompous ass that was Mike Flynn. And
I'm not going to call him general. I knew him when I was in, and he was not good. Anyway, so
remember,
all right, you didn't.
I'm watching him parse his words.
I said that I was going to do it, and I'm going to do it. So prior to the 2016 election, General Mattis was widely revered by everybody.
Yeah.
There was that guy was
dog, right?
Yeah.
Everybody called him Saint Mattis of the Holy Hand Grenade because he was one of the most respected leaders that we have ever seen in the modern era. And when he joined the administration, a lot of people soured on him really fast, which is, something that I've said about the left. The left will eat its own, even though that guy's probably not at all a liberal. But a lot of people who were veterans or who were in that are, center or left were like, well, Mattis is like the hand on the rudder. He's going to help keep things, on an even keel and prevent the military from being misused and abused. And then he resigned. And of course, the people on the right, the whole "thank you for your service" crowd was like, Mattis is a traitor, blah, blah. So everybody soured on Mattis. But I think that if that guy, whatever he's doing now, I understand that he finally got married and it's now like a CEO or on some board of executives somewhere. But getting that guy to come back and basically, like, he didn't have to spill the beans about anything that he, witnessed or give his thoughts on the previous minute. Just start from now. From day one of the administration, just start now. Have that guy come in and be like, I'm Jim Mattis and I'm back. Him and Mark Milley putting a call out to the veteran community and people who are actively serving. I think that you would get a lot of traction that way.
I don't know what the likelihood of talking them into that would be, but it would be ground shaking. I mean, like, it would change the entire dynamic in the country overnight.
Yeah. And since they're both civilians, and obviously since, Mark Milley's security detail has been stripped from him or whatever, he would need a bunch of veterans to show up and, be there with him in their tactical plate carriers. And if they're in DC, they're not carrying anything except maybe these hands. But
these hands, you can catch them.
if you got some really
illegal in DC.
I haven't lived in DC in a very long time, so I couldn't really tell you. And I, of course, do not advocate breaking the law at all.
Me neither.
Ever.
Me neither.
If you had some high-profile leaders, whether they were senior NCOs like former sergeants major of the Army or senior super master chief petty officer John Spartan of the Navy, whatever they're called. My wife's going to kick my ass for saying that. She's a sailor. If you had high-profile NCOs and high-profile flag officers, whether they're out or they're in, doesn't matter, but probably less likely to be in, but definitely veterans, people who are retired, etc. Having those people galvanize the veteran community would probably be your best bet in terms of getting veterans activated, because you could have, random E7s, sergeants first class who are out, but that's not going to, you would need high profile veterans, and I'm not counting myself there because I don't have near the following that a lot of people do. But like, the guys from Valor Media Network, for example, maybe even Richard Ajeta, who's been on our show before. He's a retired Army major who has run for office. He actually ran for president in 2020. But having those kinds of guys and girls, ladies, having those types of veterans with high ranks and a lot of visibility would definitely get you the attention that you're looking for.
How about the leader of the Coast Guard that was just fired and kicked out of her house?
There are so many people that.
There's so many people. As you're talking, even the people who have spoken out, a lot of them, and Cliff knows this, as all of us are kind of like unbelievably disgusted with kind of just the silence level that took place after the election from so many people that were fighting before, like that were telling us that fascism was coming and it was a 5-alarm fire, right. And then they're like, oh well, Trump won, it'll be lovely. But I think a lot of people are in
so many rants.
Oh my god, a lot of people are in retreat right now. But I mean, as you're talking, I'm like, God, the likelihood that these people put themselves out there right now seems low, but I'm checking myself as I'm thinking that, because we shouldn't normalize that. Like these people should be coming forward. They should be recognizing. They should be recognizing the gravity of this moment. Like I gave a speech like impromptu yesterday at the Capitol, and I basically repeated something I said at our protests in January, and that's like generations will look back. And one of my family members was telling me like, why do you always talk about generations looking back? We just care about right now. I'm like, I'm just trying to put this in perspective because we don't seem to grasp it when we're in it. Like this is it. This is the moment right now when we lose it all. So we're either doing something now or just, go home, forget about it. Like right now is the time. And hopefully we can normalize that for everybody, including the people you're naming.
My father's generation is the Vietnam veteran generation. He's a Vietnam veteran, which also means that he is also of the same generation that protested in the 60s and 70s, whether it was for civil rights or getting out of Vietnam. Whatever people protested, that was his generation. That's not far removed from my generation, which is Generation X. And yes, I have a knife in my pocket. I will cut somebody if I need to. And future generations, like, these are people in living memory. And since we're celebrating Black History Month and also at the same time negotiating our feelings on the loss of the election, coupled with the resistance movement, something that I've said periodically from time to time, whether it's in social media posts or the insane rant videos that I do, is that the civil rights movement was not a non-violent thing. Yes, there was nonviolence on the part of the people who protested, but a lot of them got beat up. Some of them got murdered. Yeah. So people that are like, oh, the civil rights was everybody was holding hands and singing Kumbaya and smiling happy people, which
until the dog showed up.
Until the dog showed up, or they turned the hoses on. People got shot. People got
Edmund Pettus Bridge, John Lewis, of course. Yeah.
Their faces were beaten in, et cetera, et cetera. So, and the reason that I pointed it out to people was because I want people to understand that just because you go out there with the aim of being nonviolent doesn't mean that somebody's going to not bring the violence to you. It doesn't mean that, like, you can't be, I'm Switzerland, I'm neutral. No, you're not. If you're protesting, you put yourself in danger by being there, because somewhere somebody is going to get angry that you're protesting. Charlottesville, a guy rammed his car into a crowd of people. Somebody died. So people need to understand. And the civil rights movement, the reason that I'm invoking that is because a lot of the people who fought in the civil rights struggle are still alive today. And they're only 60, 70, 80 years old, or, 90s, etc. That's living memory. So when you say that, future generations looking back, my oldest son is now an adult. My youngest son is going to be a freshman. 10 years from now, that generation, if they have a future, is going to look back, and we'll still be, God willing, we'll still be alive. So for all the people that are saying, well, what about future? Why worry about future generations? Because we have the now, we have the present, which is going to be the future, whatever that future may be. So if we give them a bad future for them,
We're living in it.
if that's what they inherit,
Yeah.
they're still going to be alive. We're still going to be alive.
Yeah, I just want to, and I want to say one more
now's the
thing.
time.
When you were talking, yeah, absolutely. When you were talking, you reminded me of what Cliff said when he came on a live stream I did with the 50-50 protests a couple weeks ago, and he's like, "We're out here. We're not afraid of you. Like, we're not afraid of you." And that's what's been so beautiful about all these protests that have happened so far. First of all, people aren't afraid. They're showing up, and there has been like zero counter protest. It has been
Zero.
calm waters, zero, like calm waters across the board. Across the board. And by the way, very well secured. And I would say every location by law enforcement who is, protecting the spaces. So please, 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 if you are watching this, do not be discouraged. Are you making a sacrifice? Are you taking a risk? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I wear my spiritual armor, the real spiritual armor, not the AR-15 fake material one, but like the real spiritual one. So I wear that when I go to protests. But that said, don't be discouraged. Don't be afraid. And people are showing up in mass, and they're not. And it's been so far a beautiful showing of like, first of all, we're not afraid of you, and second of all, it's just another indication that this mandate landslide bullshit is just that. There's no such. There's not this mass in this country that is on his side. Less than a third, I think it's somewhere around a quarter of eligible adults voted for Trump if the numbers are right. Okay? That's the numbers we're dealing with.
And they're not.
We are the majority. Yeah. And they're not.
In regards to the whole protest thing, one thing that you see election cycle after election cycle protests is that in cold weather, the people who care the most about it are the ones who are out there. The people who are coming to, who could take or leave it, they're not going to show up at these kinds of things until the summer. And that goes for the counter protesters too. In a lot of ways, they're busy, celebrating their great people's victory, yada, yada, yada. They're not yet at that point where they're going to come out to counter protest in any kind of force.
Fair weather indeed.
Very fair weather. Also, it was cold out. Oh no.
Hey, it was like negative. I mean, it felt like -20 when we were there in the Lincoln Memorial in January.
Oh,
Cliff's day was like, Cliff, it was like Hawaii on your day. Like the next day, we couldn't feel our feet. It was
pretty cold.
Yeah, Cliff, you got there. So I want to say something because this is kind of what I do. Call me paranoid. I want to remind us that there's a very good reason why for the past 4 years, anything that we've done has had less violent, right-wing foolishness going on. And it's because many of the people who start that stuff, many of the people who are about that life and who gather those types of groups, who bring them into a frenzy and have them willing to have violence, were locked up. Right? Because all of them showed up to the Capitol. And I guarantee you, if they weren't there, it probably would have been a peaceful protest. To be honest with you, because that's when we talk about groupthink, that's what happens. You need 2 or 3 of these guys with a bullhorn who are about it, and will rally the troops to gain a little bit of blood flow, to gain a little bit of courage, and next thing you know, it's a violent. Everybody starts to follow everybody else. But without those leaders there, most of the people who won't even show up. Most of those people were what do you call it? They were encouraged, or they were motivated by certain speakers, certain people who are about that. So I want us to be sure to understand that as these idiots have now come home, we have and I can put it out anywhere people need it. You can email me for it. We do have the information of who these 1,600 are. where they went home to. If you go to the SPCL, Southern probably SPLC, they do have a map that I also have, and I can get to anybody who needs it if you're doing protests, to know where these cells are, to know where these people are coming home to, put it
I bet
together
there's a
with
big
it.
red dot, Fredericksburg, Texas.
I bet there is too.
Uh-huh. So
I didn't give a street address.
So it's
Even
for
though I know what
whatever information you want, whatever reason you want the information for is up to you. But I'm telling you that on the other hand, whether it's cold or warm outside, a lot of the reasons why everything was crazy from 2016 to 2020, and then years after, there's no more protests, there's nobody breaking glass, there's nobody messing around with the voting booths. The reason why is because the leaders, the people who are about that, the people who do that and who motivate others to violence were locked up, and they're coming home now and just getting ready. So I wouldn't
Can I
put
do
my
my pardoned?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, can I do my pardoned insurrectionist PSA that I did on my show? This is a PSA for all the
Yes.
pardoned insurrectionists. Like,
Please
Donald
do.
Trump used the crap out of you people. Like, he literally
Mhm.
could have pardoned you in January of 2021 before he left office. And instead, he let your silly butts sit in jail for 4 years after turning you into criminals. You understand this? Like, he turned you into criminals because he was too much of a you-know-what to show up himself and get his hands dirty. So he sent you there to do his dirty work, turned you into criminals, and then used your suffering, your misery, your time without your family, your courtroom appearances, your criminal record, et cetera, as a campaign shtick to try and get himself reelected. And now he wants to be your hero. I mean, for God's sakes, have a little bit of self-respect. You're really going to stand up and show up for this guy again? Let him show up for himself. Let him be a fucking man for once in his life. Okay, I'm done.
She cursed again, Tim. Let me say this real quick, too.
You're not going to tempt me, Satan. I made an
It's
oath.
because you guys, you put it in my head. You know, you put the
Tim is
swearing
an
in my
oath
head,
keeper.
so it's just...
Hey, get thee behind me, Satan.
When I play D&D, I play dwarves, and we keep our oaths.
Can confirm. Actually, can
let me
confirm
say this
that.
real quick too about what you just said, Drill Sarge. Do you go by Drill Sarge?
Yeah, they call me Drill Sergeant.
All right. I that's a really good point that you made. And what I'm gonna say kind of reinforces that, but also, you know, maybe a bit of both. But so while Donald Trump was going through these trials, he was really like online and on television begging his people to show up, and nobody did. Nobody.
That's
and he would go
where
into
I
court.
came to that.
And he would go to court and he would lie and say, "We got thousands of people out here, and the police are barricading the street and they can't get here." And then journalists were showing up with cameras and going, "There's no one here. There's no one trying to get in." And then even with his inauguration, my personal opinion is they moved it inside because not enough people were coming, and he was about to be very embarrassed by the size of his crowd, like he is the size of other things that he has.
I think he was also worried about
the hotel occupancy in DC was 70%. It was 90% for Obama's inauguration. And I think it was only at 70% because thousands of people were there to protest against him the day before.
Right.
The viewership, the ratings, the viewership of his inauguration was 20% lower than his first one and 27% lower than Biden's. So I think we all of us on the left especially, but on the right too, anybody that's got enough intellect left to listen to people like us, you have to realize his support isn't real. Do these January 6th, do these neo-Nazis and rebel flag trailer boys and all that, do they love him still? Sure they do. But they're a small minority. He doesn't have the support that he pretends that he has. The polling was a lie. His rally sizes were a lie. His funding numbers were a lie. And I personally believe the election results were a lie. And I think even this new support that he supposedly has is Elon Musk going around the country and offering $1 million. You could win $1 million if you register to vote. And this kind of Joe Rogan said he's cool. It's just very fair weather, kind of fickle. Like, I don't give a shit. I just vote one way or the other. And 50 Cent likes him, so I voted for him this year. Or Joe Rogan likes him, or whoever. I don't think that he has this gung-ho support that he once did. And if they want to come do some shit, you better bring 5,000 of you, because that's how many there will be of us. And I don't see that happening. And I don't want it to be clear. I don't want it to. But I said this when I was protesting in North Carolina. There was 3,000 or 4,000 people at the state capitol at the peak of that day. And I was just thinking to myself, if 3 pickup trucks full of toothless hillbillies roll up, it's not going to end well for them. And we need to tell our people, when that does happen, you don't run away, you run towards it. Because if 100 people see 4,000 people coming towards them, that is more powerful than anything else that we can do.
Yep.
The left, and when I say the left, I'm going to call it what I call it is the American left, because there's so many people who are like, oh, well, the liberals aren't the left. Leftists are the left. And what I call the super woke people that need to go take a nap. So I call them all the American left, to just kind of like the whole pan full of everybody. The left needs to grow a pair of balls, straight up. And I don't mean going out there and like starting shit, but you definitely, and to be clear, there are a lot of people who want to be nonviolent and they don't want to, have to deal with defending themselves. And that's 100% fine. But you need a core group of people who are like, I'm here, and if somebody wants to start shit, I'm not going to be the one to start it, but I will definitely have a hand in ending it. And that's not a call for violence. I got to throw that disclaimer out there, because I have a couple of pearl clutchers who are like, Big Sarge is advocating violence. No, I'm saying that if you fuck with me, cat's out of that. If you mess with me,
I'm
there
out of
we
here,
go.
guys.
Gonna have
Nice
to
being
hurt
with you.
you.
You just passed the threshold. I am out. Only I swear on this show tonight. Nobody else.
I had a good run. I made it 56 minutes without using profanity.
Wasn't bad.
Flipped out, and I immediately feel bad.
Can I respond to that, Big Sarge, in the Christian way? Now,
in the Christian
wait. Here's the deal, and I don't say that facetiously. I actually pastored. I was guest pastor at a church quite a few times. I've also minister of music at my church, and I am a Christian. So I always want to make sure people understand that that doesn't mean that you have to be an evangelical right-wing nut job because you're Christian. So let me just get that out of the way while I say that. All right.
You're in good company. We're real Christians here tonight on Sons of Liberty. I'm here with you. All right.
I'm not a Christian, but I am a preacher's kid, and I did play bass in a church band. So
there you go.
Partial credit.
I get partial.
I've just done a lot of acid and mushrooms, so I've met God, but I don't really.
No, you're spiritual. No, you're spiritual.
That's not God, Cliff. Not God.
That's what they call spiritual. You're on your spiritual journey, and I'm down for it. So here's the deal.
Spiritual journey ready for me.
He's on the detour from the spiritual journey.
Listen, all right. Listen, we can get into this all night. And before I do that, I got two things. I'm going to ask you a question about the petitions and your time in campaigns, Jessica, to see if maybe you can help us or help understand how to get these petitions working. But before that, Big Sarge, I want to let everybody know that in the civil rights movement, me and my wife talk about this all the time. Like when things get really
Your
You,
sound
wait, you
cut
went
out.
on mute like I do.
Hello.
Yep.
All right, we're all.
I can hear you now.
Me and my wife talk about this all the time. When things are scary and when things get tough, we're always trying to assess exactly how far we're willing to go because I have a family and blah blah blah, and what I'm going to do this day. How far am I going to go with this thing that I'm planning or whatever it is? We always have to remind ourselves that the people who went there, nonviolence is a tool. The way that the tool works is when others do violence to you, you open the top. That's if this thing doesn't stop. That's what the tool is. It's not nonviolent to stay nonviolent. Nonviolence, the way that Gandhi did it, the way that King did it, was to make sure that everybody could see how absolutely crazy violent people were. How far the demon devil people that were willing to get rid of your rights were. And in a time when there wasn't the internet, people were living in the North that said to themselves, you know, I know it's not great down there, but those blacks, they love it like that. They could tell themselves that until they saw the dogs and the dogs and the batons, until they saw that on TV, it didn't become a big deal. So I want us to remember the way nonviolence works is to stay nonviolent. Is going there expecting either response from the government, the state itself, response from agitators who want the status quo, or to generate a response while you're there from the people inside the building. Like this, marching is one thing, but when King didn't get arrested, they planned another one the next day to ensure he got arrested, because him in jail is a much bigger tool than him going back home safely. That's how it's supposed to work. It's harder in a time like this where we have people who literally say, well, why are we always talking about the kids that were, in jail? Like, you're always trying to use an emotional. I hear people saying it who say they're Christian. Sit there and tell you about how it doesn't matter whose kids don't get fed or who can't find their parents anymore. So it might be a little bit tougher to get them on your side, nonviolent. But it's important to know that that's how nonviolent protests work. To get that reaction from people inside, or to have people see, how far the other side is willing to go. So it's important to keep that in mind. It's important to think about and use that as a tool. And it takes a certain amount of bravery to know that and still do it. Okay, so that's just me on the soapbox. The next thing is petitions. You worked with this campaign, and I'm sure a lot of people like me would love to sign the petitions and see people. I always get the moveon.org, or I get a whole lot of them. America First.org. I get them all, but I can't ever start a petition on there. I go there and I'm like, hey, how do I start one? And they're like, give me $5 and we're thank you for your for your donation and your email. Next petition to sign. How do I get Cliff's idea off the board? Who do we talk to, or we can't talk to them to get that position or to get it well known?
Are you talking about a petition for the military and veterans, that kind of petition?
Let's just start that one. Yeah, start with that one.
Well, man, I use my show. Like, listen, when I went to the Trump campaign, first of all, I knew I was not a political person. I was just on the brainwashed end of thinking that our democracy was going to end, but because of Hillary Clinton, not Trump. So that's like the same like caring citizen that motivated me to work for the Trump campaign. I'm that same person. I was just brainwashed and thought that up was down back then. So I'm actually like, I am not a seasoned organizer, campaigner, political person. I did go to college in DC and, you know, graduated with a degree in journalism. And, you know, I know that world very well, but it's not actually my, I don't know, it's not my skill set per se. I have really just learned this by doing it. And what we did with 14th Now was like, I was doing these shows and I'm like, my God, we're about to inaugurate a president who has no legal right to be in this office and he's going to end our democracy. Like, for God's sakes, we got to do something. So I just was talking to my audience. My audience was telling me, like, let's start a protest. And we just friggin' did it. Like, we set up a website, we got a join now button, and we started promoting the heck out of it. And, you know, even it was freezing cold out there. We didn't get thousands of people, but we raised an unbelievable amount of money in a short amount of time because people believed in the cause and they were there with us in spirit from like around the world. So what I would say is, you guys use this platform. Like, you have this platform, set up a website and then just get people to amplify it, you know, start a hashtag and just use that to start a movement. Just do it. Just do it. Like, I literally had no idea how to do this from experience or training or education. It was just a feeling that something had to be done. And I just started taking the steps. And you guys already have like a mini crew. Like, I tried to get a crew from my show together, and Cliff was one of a few of the amazing core group of organizers that came together and helped me. But, you know, just use the show as a platform, set up a website, and then, you know, try to make it go viral. That's the best I can suggest. And while you're at it, go to freespeechforpeople.org and sign their petition to impeach Trump, please. I want to get them over 1 million signatures. So do that while you're at it. freespeechforpeople.org.
What's that? What's the URL again?
freespeechforpeople.org, or you can go to impeachtrumpagain.org. Both of them work.
Let me say this real quick.
Yeah.
Let me say this real quick, just sort of piggybacking on what Jessica just said. I think, as far as like action points, this is my humble opinion is, I think something that needs to happen as soon as possible is a veterans protest. Because everything we're talking about. So we're talking about counter protesters showing up and being violent towards the left. I think a veterans protest could help at least in some way shift the mindset of some of the people that might do that. If the next big protest that happens is a veterans protest, like, y'all gonna go fight veterans in uniform? I don't think they will. And
let's go mess with a demographic that spent 20 plus years at war. That's a great idea.
Exactly, because it's the Navy SEALs. It's the Navy SEALs versus the Navy SEAls most of the time. But so I want to say
green buffets versus the green berets.
I want to say a couple things. A veterans protest, I think, is a very, very important next step. I also think that, and you guys being a group of progressive veterans, like you guys are the best ones to start to spearhead this, but it needs to be in chorus and in collaboration with other big social media presences. So we need to get in touch with people that are in the leadership of Indivisible. We need to get in touch with people that are in the leadership of the 5051. All of us need to come together. Instead of there being 10 groups, there needs to be.
Okay.
Yeah, we really do have to.
And we do. Listen, we're starting. I can speak. I want you to continue. But before you even go on with that, if we're going to do a veterans protest, listen to me, Cliff. It's got to be March 14th in Washington, D.C. Do you understand? We need. You want to take that day? Let's let it be the Veterans Day. Let it be the whole movement day. Let's do it. We need it March 14th in Washington, D.C. Okay, keep going.
Perfect. I love that. I'm gonna let you finish, but I'm kidding. Jessica just Kanye'd me, and I don't mean anti-Semitism. We need a veterans protest, and then we need veterans. We need veterans in uniform at every protest, and they need to be the sort of the wall of defense, because a lot of the people that show up at these protests are old ladies, because old ladies are smart and they follow shit and they know what's going on. So we do need a wall of tough people to protect these more vulnerable people, and I think the veterans can play that role at every protest. But we do need one that's veteran-centric. And I think networking with every single progressive entity on the internet who does have a following. Jessica's got like around 80,000 on YouTube. It looks like you guys got around 80,000. I got around 60,000. So when we combine all of those across platforms, it's millions. If we get the Tizzy guy and the Who's Your Blue guy and Camp Call Out and all these different social media pages to all start blasting the same message. On March 14th, we're going to DC and we need uniformed veterans there. On March 20th or whatever it ends up being, we're going to every media outlet and here are their addresses and here's what your sign needs to say. And we just start blasting this out, and instead of it being 10 different groups, it's one collective message bombarding social media. And it could be, that is what it's going to have to take. And that might not work either. But that will be our last effort of being nice and hoping for the best, in my humble opinion. And also, I just want to reiterate, because I know we're probably getting off soon, the economic blackout on February 28th. Don't spend a dime. Don't spend a dime that day. And if you have to, you spend it. If you have to spend money, you spend it as cash at a mom and pop local business if you have to, but try not to spend any. There's also Goods Unite Us. That's an app that will tell you who supports which party. And we need to take away all our dollars from Amazon. We need to take away all our dollars from Walmart. We need to stop supporting these companies that do and always have supported fascism, like Hobby Lobby and Chick-fil-A. We need to bombard social media. The reason they won isn't because we talked about trans issues. It isn't because we're not for the working man. It's none of these talking point bullshit. It's because Russian disinformation bombarded the dumbest people in our population, and it worked. And they hammered these talking points through their skulls, and then they learned them so well, they went and parroted them too. And Theo Von did it, and Joe Rogan did it, and every other shitty comedian who shouldn't have a Netflix special. We need to fight back against them. We need to bombard the other way. We need to be going on Nick Fuentes and Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk's pages every fucking day and bombarding their comment sections and mocking people and shutting shit down and dropping real information. We need to do it to Newsmax. We need to do it to Tucker Carlson and Fox News. And lastly, we need to show up at these leaders' offices. Stop emailing them. Stop calling them. Drive your happy ass to their office, whether they're a Democrat or a Republican, their state office or their DC office, and walk in there and be an asshole. Don't get arrested, but go in there and go, hey, you're being a fucking coward, and I just came by to let you know that you're being a fucking coward. If 100 people a day do that, I promise you it will make an impact. But more than anything, people got to get off the couch. It's not enough to share posts and like things and comment. You got to get your ass off the couch.
Or even as much as we're promoting our own platform, it's not enough to watch our videos. You got to get out on the street.
Yeah. I'm way past caring about followers. I am everything I am doing because I really think that this is the end of our democracy if we don't stop it.
Yes, it is.
And I'm trying to
I think that's a big part of why. That's a big part about why Big Sarge even started these lives. Ever since it's been going, it's not just to have to promote other people's channels or our channel or whatever it is. It's to build networks with Ken Harbaugh when he comes. It's to build networks with Jessica and Cliff when they come. It's to say, okay, how can we unify a message to both of our audiences? And I think that's exactly what we're doing here. So, I that is really, really uplifting to hear and to see and to feel like, okay, I think we're getting there. I think we're doing this. How can we put this together? Well, I think this is how. Well, this is the start. like to be meeting outside of this as well, to make sure that we're sharing messages and that we're sharing ideas.
Come on up.
But
that's it.
100%. Hey guys, I gotta jump pretty soon. But just to tag on to what you just said, by the way, you guys get a petition started. You let me know. I will promote the hell out of it every time I do a live show on Lights On. And by the way, we're getting to the end here. But if you guys don't already know, that's where you normally find me on my YouTube channel, Jessica Denson. I have a live show every Friday, Lights On, and I do shows throughout the week. Yeah, I'll promote the heck out of it. Share it with me. You mentioned 5051. We're already in touch with them. We're in touch with American Opposition, who's run by a friend of mine, Carlos. So we've got a lot of, I agree. They can't be all these fractured efforts. We all have to join together and promote each other. And it's for all of us. This isn't about any one person. This is about our country, for God's sake. So yeah, 100% on board with you. And yeah.
Are you guys familiar with Task Force Butler?
Sounds familiar. What is that? Remind me.
It's a veteran-led initiative or effort. I'm not 100% familiar with it, and I've had a couple of these bad boys, so I might be misremembering things. I don't want to speak out of turn. Anyway, the guy who's in charge of Task Force Butler was networked with us through Ken Harbaugh and Bobby Jones of Valor Media and Midas Touch. Yeah. And he's going to be on the show, on the live stream at some point in the near future. So I think we can do a lot between the two of us to kind of pull in other veteran communities that are left, or just people who are opposed. Really, I don't even care at this point what their politics are, as long as they're just, this ain't happening.
Pro-America? Like pro-freedom?
As long
it doesn't even have, realistically speaking, it doesn't even have to be that serious. And I'm gonna say something that might upset some people, but
oh boy,
there are people who don't care about any of that, but what they do care about is their VA benefits, and those are on the way out.
Oh yeah.
And if that's what it takes to get them to finally be, they're like, I don't care about the price of eggs. I don't care, but you touch my benefits, it's on. Okay, well, it's on. Let's go. Come on. Suit up, buddy.
Yep.
I will share a foxhole with people on the right, in the center, on the left. I don't even care, as long as we have that same mission, and that mission is, like I said, I'm a single issue voter, and my issue is democracy. Because I can't
100%.
swear yet.
And this is the last thing I'll say. I know I've talked a lot. For me, it's like, not only do I don't want to just stop what Trump is doing. I don't want to just stop Project 2025 and this Silicon Valley technocrat meets closeted youth pastor theocrat energy. I don't want to just shut that down. I want to shut all that down and then get back to the status quo and then shut that down. And then I want real leaders to step up and go, you can't price gouge citizens anymore. You can't poison citizens anymore. You can't poison their air or their water. You can't price gouge them to death. You can't insufficient fund them to death. We need people who actually stand up for the citizens. We need it. And if you can't, and you're a Democrat, then we'll primary the shit out of you and we'll put somebody in there with some spine that will. But if you're not fighting for families to be able to afford their food and their house and their kids' education and their family's health care, then you lose your job and you take your ass home, and we put somebody in there like Elizabeth Warren, like Bernie Sanders, these people that actually fight, people like AOC. If you're in the middle and you're hanging on to the status quo, I mean, while we're tearing the system apart, let's go ahead and get you out of there too. We need real people with. And these ideas of making sure people aren't hungry and sick, that's not liberal. That's called humanitarian. That's called level-headed, common sense, kindness, empathy, like rational thought. None of those are liberal ideas. Those are American ideas, and we've gotten away from them way before Trump came along. And the Republican Party's been lying about shit. I mean, Bush lied about WMDs. Bush 1 lied about Desert Shield and to get us into that war. You know, I mean, Trump is not the disease. Trump is the anal wart that makes it impossible to keep ignoring that you have the disease. I'm sorry I said it's the word, Jessica.
That was the worst so far, Cliff. That was definitely the worst.
That's beautiful. I was gonna say it's the most beautiful use of the of the English language I've heard in a long time. Outstanding, sir. Outstanding.
I'm a bit of a wordsmith.
He's a wordsmith is what he is.
Oh, there's the send-off note that everybody was looking for the show, right? That was
yeah. Well, we're gonna send it off on anal wart. I like that. I think that drives home the message exactly.
We don't have a set schedule, so if they want to stick around and talk for another 30 or 40 minutes, go right ahead.
We'll take them, but I think
I would love to. I have to jump myself, but please, thank you guys so much for having me. Well, we can do this again, and more than anything, we need bodies in DC, and I hope so many veterans join us. So please, please, please help us spread the word. Nowmarch.org, and just show up and be there, and let's put a freaking end to this madness because it can't continue for 40
And that's on the 14th.
14th of March. 14th of March.
Nowmarch.org. Let's make that the veterans protest too, for sure.
Yep. Washington, D.C. And by the way, just to really quick piggyback on what Cliff was saying about media protests, there are 3 major networks. Fox News and MSNBC are in the same building. I worked at it in college. CNN's about 2 blocks down the street. I worked there too. I mean, we could just piggyback. We could stay there on, I'm thinking like Sunday the 16th before the Sunday shows start. Just show up in that courtyard of CNN and MSNBC and Fox. And you demand that these people, when they have that Sunday show on March 16th, cover what we just did.
I love it.
That's
I love
that's the one in New York, right?
No, Washington, D.C. Fox News and MSNBC are in the same building. It's where they do their Sunday show. CNN's right down the street north of Union Station. They're all right there near the Capitol.
All right. So this is, give me that date one more time for that one.
Well, for that, I'm thinking March 6th, 3/16, because it's the Sunday shows. But March 14th is a Friday.
Admin Tim 316.
Huh?
For God so loved the world that he gave his only.
That's not what it says. That's not what it says. I can't say it because it has a swear in it. And
I'm trying to save you, son. I'm trying to save you.
He's talking about wrestling. You're talking about Jesus. He's talking about wrestling.
Yeah, no, it's even worse than that. You don't want to know. Listen,
it's one of my my little catchphrase. Admin Tim 316 says.
Well, I've got the Trump Bible.
That's a play on John 3:16, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got the Trump Bible, and it says something completely different. I don't know. It's
it says buy golden shoes.
Yeah, it says something about Epstein's Island. I don't know. I can't remember it.
My trading cards.
A lot of young maidens in the Trump Bible. I could tell you that much.
So I think 314, the 14th now / veterans protest, 316 can be the media protest. And then I think the following Saturday and Sunday could be the main headquarters of those media outlets. We hit them again at their main offices the following weekend. And those are, I mean, the ones I'm thinking are Fox, Newsmax, CNN, maybe ABC or CBS, but Fox is in New York, Newsmax is in Boca Raton, CNN's main office is in Atlanta, CBS's main one is in New York. So maybe we go veterans protest, media protest in DC, and then the following weekend is a massive media protest at all of their main headquarters.
That's the weekend, the 22nd.
Yep.
All right.
Hey, Jessica, there is a group called the 21st Century Suffragettes.
Yes, and it's not just FY. I will tell you guys that I keep trying to type comments and they're like rejecting 90% of the ones that I'm trying to type. But here's the best way. Please don't overload me. But the best way to get in touch with me is DM on Instagram or Blue Sky, Jessica Denson 07. Follow me on Blue Sky if I'm not following you, and just say, hey, Jessica, follow me back so I can DM you. And that's the best way to be in touch.
I got to give a shout out to 21st Century Suffragettes. They do raids in my comments. It's great. I love watching it. So I thought I would give them a shout out and let you know they're trying to reach out to you. So
I'd be happy to. And maybe if you can just put us directly in touch, and we'll make that happen.
sure, somebody from 21st Century Suffragettes message me on Discord, and I will give me your email address, and I will link you up because I'm about networking.
And you know how you know how when you're a kid and you're trying to make a poster but you don't plan well, and so you run out of space for the last letters at the end. I was just trying to make this. I just wanted people to know where to follow me.
Yours. So I linked it on Discord. I linked both of your Blue Skies on our Discord. Yours is Cliff Cash Comedy dot whatever their formula is.
Yeah.
And Jessica, yours is Jessica Denson 07.
07. Yep, that's me everywhere.
Got it.
I'm
All
Cliff
right.
Cash Comedy on every platform. YouTube,
Go follow them now.
All right,
follow
guys.
Thanks for being
Cliff,
with
how do
us.
we get you a Netflix special?
I think I
Thank
have to
you,
grow a
Jessica.
mullet and be
Thank you.
unfunny, or I have to be 5'2" and have a podcast and be on steroids, or I have to
Ooh,
call
burn.
I'm not on
Puerto Rico
steroids,
a
but I
floating
am
island of
trying to
trash.
work out.
I think you're a little too tall for it, Sarge.
All
All
right,
right,
you
guys.
heard
I'm
it,
also
Very
not
nice to see
funny,
you.
so
I'll see you next time.
thank you,
Okay?
Jessica.
Bye, Jess. I'm glad you got to
Bye.
see me.
Love you, Cliff. Bye.
Love you. See ya.
She's great.
So-
We gotta
Yeah,
get her back on.
I think Netflix is too busy putting out unwatchable, hacky, down-punching dog shit. I'm not sure that they. And people are like, should you say that now? They're never going to give you a special. Like, I don't think they were ever going to give me a special.
No, there was a guy who did a Netflix special, and he was totally riffing on Netflix, like
Joe Coy.
Netflix is gonna, yes, something like that. My wife watches a lot of comedy specials, so I will occasionally tune into some of them. I didn't do the Chappelle one. I saw him live when he did his first comeback thing. That was before the whole the trans thing. And then after that, I was like, I don't want to support that. So, but I watched yours, the whole thing, and the bit with the Oath Keepers thing. You're like, Stuart. I'm like, oh, it's Letterkenny going on right there, and I love it. If you guys haven't watched Cliff Cash's comedy thing, go find it and watch it. It's good, super
Where do you
good.
find
I'm
it?
not even a funny person, so.
The special is called The Long Road, and it's on YouTube. And I'm Cliff Cash Comedy on YouTube and every other platform. Cliff with 2 F's, cash like money. Yeah, man. I mean, we made that thing. We sold out a theater, 550 seats. We made a 5-camera special. I think it looks as good as anybody's special, and I think it's as funny as anybody's special. And so, I think the idea is we want to try and get it to 1 million views, and get 1 million people that like me and support me. And then the next time I make one, I just put it on YouTube, and it costs $2, and I make more than Netflix would have paid me anyway. You know what I mean? I think I'm kind of done with these gatekeepers. Like, they can kiss my ass. Like, I'm not gonna come beg y'all. In fact, I'm at a point now you're gonna have to beg me because I'm sick of your bullshit. I had people contacting Netflix. No bullshit. I won't say their names because I don't want to mess up their money. But I had one of the most successful show creators on Netflix. The creator and director of one of the most successful series on Netflix took my special to the head of comedy, and he never got back to him. I had Robin Williams' former agent take it to the head of comedy. He never got back to him. I mean, we had real players taking it to them, and they just couldn't even be bothered to like send me an email. And it's like, you know what? While you're putting out literal dog shit, like some of those specials are good, and some of them are like make me wish I was born without ears. So it's whatever.
Can
It's
you
a
act,
frustrating job.
or do you act?
I mean, I act like a jackass.
Oh, you're good company then.
Yeah, I don't really I don't act a lot. Like, I haven't really been in any like roles. I've done a couple commercials and like I'm actually writing. Again, I won't say names because I don't want to make anybody mad, but I got tapped by a pretty successful show creator and director to write a script. He saw my special and contacted me and said, "Hey, I want to make a comedy and I want you to be the star of it, and I want you and your brother to write it." My brother is a New York Times bestselling author. So me and my brother and this other actor wrote what I think is a really, really funny pilot. So I think the plan is still to make the pilot. I don't know when that's going to happen because this particular show creator is like pumping out big shit. Like, I don't know when the guy sleeps. Like, he finishes one show and starts another one. So I hope it's still going to happen. But either way, we have a funny pilot that if it doesn't happen,
Does his
maybe
name rhyme with Taylor Sheridan?
No, not quite that big. But I mean, pretty close. But
That's the only guy I can think of that's like super busy.
Yeah.
Is the only busy guy you know, Tim?
No, I'm just like when he said that he's cranking out show after show. It's like every time I turn around, there's like Yellowstone, 1883, 1923, Tulsa King, Landman, whatever else he's got going on.
Mayor of Kingstown.
We're making a Yellowstone comedy. Basically, it's a prequel to Yellowstone. I'm the drunk borderline personality brother who passes away before Yellowstone starts. So it's a prequel.
I love it.
It's called 1983.
Yeah, it's like Kevin Costner meets Hunter Biden kind of vibe.
Excellent.
I'm sure Taylor Sheridan would go for that. I think he's conservative.
I mean, watching those shows, it sure seems like.
Yeah, the Landsman vibe is definitely like there's some subtle undertones going on there.
That's pretty good. I've been watching that. Billy Bob Thornton needs to do something different with his hair, but it's a pretty good show.
I think
Not gonna lie, I was watching for Allie Larder and the other girl.
Somebody put in the comment section, yellow kidney stone.
What?
Yellow kidney stone.
I did have kidney stones when I was 12, so I mean, I think that's fitting.
Ouch.
It was a fate I wish on no one.
I wanted to do
week.
I wanted to get back into film. I used to be an indie filmmaker, and so I was trying to think about like how we could do something that was like.
I actually had a really
subversively left, but funny, and I'm not funny at all. So I'm like, who can write funny stuff?
I had a really good idea today, Tim, and I'm not attached to it. I'm more than happy to hand it off to somebody because I'm not a filmmaker. I think a docu-series that it could even just live on YouTube, and every episode is 15 minutes or whatever, and it doesn't have to be gorgeous. I mean, it just needs to exist. A sort of docu-series called Fired. And it's documenting all these people that are being let go by Donald Trump. It's the park ranger that was a park ranger for 20 years and just lost their job with no notice and has a pregnant wife or whatever. It's an inspector general. It's an FBI agent. And each episode is like a 5-minute interview with 3 different people and splice in some hypocritical Donald Trump quotes and maybe some footage of Matt Gaetz sniffing ED medicine, like whatever you can get in there.
That Teen Beat magazine.
I think that would do. Again, kind of like this veteran protest. I think if the American people really start to see this quote unquote government efficiency bullshit is really just firing hardworking Americans that needed jobs to feed their families. Like, You're not saving anybody. All you're doing is like cutting off food to starving children and like taking away income from a park ranger who's trying to pay his mortgage. Like this isn't helping you. And all the money that is quote unquote saved, they're not going to mail it to your pressure washing business, Billy Bob. They're going to use it to give themselves massive tax cuts, or they're just going to steal it and they're just going to take it away from you and shut down.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which I think is honestly probably the most likely outcome.
And how many of these companies that are being targeted were like vendettas? You know, like the FDA looking into Neuralink and SpaceX getting fined for their rocket blowing up all over the launch pad, which is definitely not a euphemism for premature ejaculation.
And USAID looking into Starlink.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, it's a way for him to get rid of everybody who was finding him or going after him, and then just as icing on top, just go ahead and take everybody else's money while you're in there that you can.
I'll be right
that's
back.
what it seems like it was all about. That's what the whole U.S. aid seems like it's all about.
Confirming I have a message from 21st Century Suffragettes on Discord, just acknowledging that on the stream so that they know for a fact that I got the message.
Outstanding.
All right. I'm going to put them in touch with Jessica directly via email at some point tonight. Where did Cliff go? Did he like...
He said he had to step away. You guys were busy in your monologues.
I was about to leave, but then he left first, so I figured I can't go until he comes back.
What's going on? Is that like a fur rug back there? Like, no, that's a mirror that I'm looking at. Okay,
that is definitely.
We're analyzing Cliff's. I'm presuming.
It's like going through somebody's bathroom cabinet. Like, what is that? Is that a lamp?
I mean, just like people who take bathroom selfies of themselves in the bathroom, because that's what a bathroom selfie is. Yeah. And you're like looking in the mirror and you're like, okay, look, I see a toothbrush. What is that? A sex toy? What?
Hey, he's back.
Sorry, guys, I had a turbo poop.
Impressive timing.
Impressive.
We were just admiring your decor there for whatever room you're in.
I'm in. I'm in a cruise ship.
I'm about to say, is that a hotel?
Cruise ship.
I'm on a cruise ship.
That's right.
I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of the Gulf of America. It looks totally different than it used to.
Instead of being blue water, it's red, white, blue.
Yeah,
I swear to God, I'm never ever using that term. Whatever they're trying to do. The
Gulf of tiny dick energy.
Yes, Lord. My God, who has a pencil dick? Just say it.
Can I ask you a question about your approach to comedy?
Sure.
Do you like make stuff up on the fly when you're on stage, or do you like write stuff down in advance and kind of like memorize it and summarize talking points and kind of refine that? Like, how does that work for you? If I can ask, probably like asking a magician, like, how do you do this magic trick?
No, it's all right. It really depends on the show. I mean, obviously with my special, that was pretty planned because I really needed it to be top notch. But if I'm just at a venue and it's like, you know, there's not a lot to lose, I will kind of riff. I don't necessarily just like think of something on the fly, like I just talk about the curtains or whatever. I'm not really that kind of comedian. I would like to get better at that, but I will go up there without a plan and I'll kind of start with whatever joke. You know, sometimes I think I'm just going to use like vague terms, but sometimes I'm backstage and I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to start with whatever, that Oath Keeper's joke. And then the comedian before me, their last joke is something about somebody having some terrible diarrhea or something. So then I'm like, all right, well, I got to kind of get a laugh if I can riff on what they just said, I get an instant laugh, and then the crowd is on my side. So then it's like, all right, I guess I'm talking about poop for the first 15 minutes of this hour, you know.
Nice.
So it really
I tried
depends on
that
the
and
show.
it didn't go well.
Yeah. but when the when there's really something at stake, like I'm filming, or it's a big important show, it's a theater, or it's like just a good paying gig, I'll try to like stick to the script. I'm not somebody, some comedians, like I have little notebooks like this all over the place, and some comedians will like fill up they'll write out every word of a joke. I don't do that. I just write out bullet points. So I'll write like Oathkeeper's joke, and then it might say eye patch, Stuart, alpha male, Ralphie, Christmas Story. It'll just kind of have the joke and the tag. And then, honestly, the reason I think I'm pretty good at comedy is like most of it's just in my head. I for now, until I'm an old guy, everybody in my family has dementia, but for now I have like a crazy like Rain Man memory. I have probably 4 or 5 hours of comedy in my head, and I can just kind of go, all right, they liked that joke. I can easily move into this next joke, and it's kind of like on the same topic. And so
before I go,
let me ask
you this too. So not that you write it all out, but I've heard a lot of times comedians say things like they will talk or they will go to all the small shows, and they'll spend like a year writing for the big special, right?
Yeah,
but trying
totally.
out jokes at all the small shows, and not if you write it down or not, but kind of gauging with whether they work. So do you also do that? Like, does it take that amount of time to really hone in on something you want for a special, even if you're not writing it all down per se?
So again, I think every comedian's different. For me, I try really hard not to even take it on stage until I know it's funny. So like, I kind of come up with an idea and I'll run it by my girlfriend. I'll call my brother. I'll call my best friend. I'll throw it into a conversation when I'm hanging out with some people. And then the next step is I'm doing an hour at a comedy club. I put this new thing right in the middle. So it's like 20 minutes of killing, new thing for 5 minutes, and 20 more minutes of killing. So even if it doesn't go well, it's a dip that nobody's even going to notice. I have a crippling fear of rejection. So like, I am not willing to just go up cold and try some new joke that I don't know for sure if it'll work or not. So I try really hard to make sure it works beforehand. And so, I do it the first time and I go, man, that went really well. Well, then the idea is you spend that year getting it even better. Whereas some people, you start with a premise and like, maybe it doesn't work good at all, and you spend that year trying to get it good. I try to like, if it doesn't go pretty well and it's not a pretty strong premise that I feel is really workable, I'll kind of shelve it and maybe come back to it. So I try and go with something that I can get kind of a B minus response even on the first try, and then I try to take it from B minus to A plus. For me, that takes more like 2 years, and I think the best comedians are the ones that put out a special every 2 years. I think putting one out every year is a little ambitious, and I think it's a little hard to like mass produce awesome. I think we saw that with like Kevin Hart. He was doing a special a year for a while. And I like Kevin Hart. I like his hustle. He's one of the hardest people working in show business in general. But it was just too fast. And it's hard to say no when somebody goes, hey, we'll give you $10 million for another special. It's like, all right, I'll just get up there and talk about anything.
Yeah.
But I think
I loved his work. But you're right. Like, I guess he was funny as hell for a few years straight, though. I mean, like, I guess he had stuff backed up, but around the end, it was like, okay, it's evening out. It's like, okay, it's him, so we'll still watch, right? But I guess you're right. You're right about that.
It's just hard to keep kicking out that really high level quality. It's hard to do that every year. And I think the only way to really do that every year is if you just tour like so prolifically that you're getting in, you're kind of getting that 10,000 hours in to really to crank it out that fast. But chances are, if you're that famous, you're not touring so hard that you're able to perfect an hour in a year. I think 2 years is really the magic number.
That's what's up. All right, I'm going to have to jet up out of here, fellas. It was awesome meeting you.
Nice to meet you too, man.
And I'm sure I'll be in touch. We'll be in touch again soon. So, and I will for sure as well. So, we got to get this thing on the 316
for sure.
Going. See if we can get this messaging going. We'll talk more about that. Thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna leave you in the hands of these two good gentlemen here, and I'm out.
Yeah, no doubt.
Big Sarge, please go easy on him.
I mean, he's allowed to curse now. The Big Sarge will be all right.
Yeah, he's all right.
Am I allowed to say fucking shit now?
I love that you're trying not to curse and Jessica was cursing, and I said,
"Right, that was the best part."
Right,
that's the best part.
And then I let the F word slip, and I was like, "Oh God, I'm so sorry."
Hey,
she's like,
"Bullshit."
I don't even know where the camera is.
Yeah, the camera. Here's the camera right here.
Oh.
And that's Cliff. That's the guy that's been on Signal with.
Hi, I recognize him, and of course Matt. Matt, the game's over. Get rid of the background.
Look. It's until next season, baby. It's until next season.
Somebody with some smarts up in here. Let's say what needs
I'm
to be
gonna
said.
hop off too. I'm on this cruise ship, and all the restaurants close at 9, so I gotta go eat something.
Oh yeah.
You got 15 minutes to make your way to the poop deck.
All right, love you guys. I'm out.
See you, Doug.
Y'all.
See you,
I'll
Cliff.
see you soon.
Thanks for coming, guys.
And then there were two.
The poop deck. That was my one good joke for the evening.
That was a good joke?
I thought it was funny, but like I said, I'm not a funny person, and that's the thing that gets me. It's like people will watch the videos that I put out, and they're like, I laughed so hard. You got me. I was drinking coffee or tea or something, and you said the thing about the thing, and I'm like, what is so funny? Like, what am I saying that's funny? Because I get up there and I'm like,
what am I, a clown to you?
I gotta be serious. I gotta like get in the zone. I gotta get the knife hand. I gotta wield the knife hands.
I have the knife hand.
And I gotta bring the energy. So I'll get up there and like I'll do some push-ups before I get out and beat my face, and then like I'll listen to some heavy metal, and I'm like, jamming out and getting in the mood, and then I get in the camera and I'm like, and people are like, that was really funny. I'm like, what was so funny? Because there's so many people in the comments are like, oh, you're a really funny guy. You should, do stand-up or something. I'm like, but I'm not funny. What? So I even ask people, I'm like, timestamp it. Where are you seeing these things that are funny? So I can I want to analyze it and be like, what am I doing that's working? Like I get like when I say something like, lay your prayers and concerns at the altar of St. Foopap, and people are like, oh, that's good. That should go on a t-shirt or something. I'm like, okay, I could probably do that.
I mean, that would.
Or like admin Tim, hashtag not sorry. And I'm okay, yeah. But like, what's the funny shit? Like, where am I being funny? Because I don't see it. Like I watch the video and I'm like, what? Like, I genuinely don't see it. So,
you got your interjecting nerd character. You've got your cutaways, the more information kind of zoom in pieces. All that juxtaposition comes in as being very entertaining.
Well,
I find most of them funny.
The nerd thing I did, like, because I did like a video. It was primarily military stuff. Like, I think I just got up there and I was like, I don't want to rant about anything today, so I'm going to tell like the story about the time that I, whatever military thing. Like I
The pool
gave somebody
in the
extra
barracks.
duty. The pool in the barracks, yeah.
Yeah.
Or I had like some soldier come in for extra duty. I think it was a female. I can't remember exactly. And it was in the middle of a blizzard, so I made them like shovel off the grass, the snow off the grass, cut the grass, and then put the snow back on. I was so irritated with this person and their bullshit. And so people are like, "What does that mean? I don't understand what that means." So I started doing the well, actually thing, because I was like, what does Delta Bravos mean? I'm like, I guess I could explain that next time. So yeah, that's where that came from. That's why I started doing that.
Well, it's good. It's good. Like when we try to inject any kind of humor into the script writing, it's can be very hit or miss, and then we let someone else take a run at it and refine it, and then by the time it comes back around to us to look at it, it's usually like, oh, this is completely different than what we were putting together before. This
yeah,
is
like when
funny.
we did the Nocturne Machinima, like you were like, we should put the musical number in there. And I'm like, we're not doing a fucking musical in a sci-fi
We're not doing any kind of music. Serious
And
shit.
then you're like, okay, but hear me out. Let's do the You're Welcome song from Moana. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. So I had to like Google it. I'm watching. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. You're like, okay, but imagine not the characters, but imagine the voiceover actors like doing it. One guy's recording it from his home in North Carolina. One guy's recording it from his home in Texas. And then you're going to mix them together. And I gave him the karaoke track, and I was like, do not try to do this perfectly. Like, do one take and send me the very first take that you get. Don't do anything else. And we put it together, and you son of a bitch, it fucking worked. I watched it. I died. I was just like, oh my God. So I've learned to trust your instincts on the writing things. Like, there were a couple of times where I'm like, no, that's not. And then we get to it, and I'm like, yeah, that's good. All right, that's good. Okay.
And now I pitch some kind of musical thing every single time. And every single time it gets shot down, at least the first time I pitch it.
Because we're not going to do it like every single episode. It's like once a season at best, and that's
I got to shoot my shot. It's
yeah.
I mean, that gets Pogue has to go sing in one of the whole things. He hates it so much.
I was like, all right, well, if we're going to throw a musical number in there, then I'm going to get
Eric
Totel to do the the only reason that I had to do that one is because I had that song stuck in my head when I was writing, and I'm like, I gotta have Eric sing this and he was like, I'm not singing that song. That song is he said something that I can't really say.
Yeah.
Said it was gay, and I was like,
which made it even
dude, just
better.
think about it. Like, that's what makes it funny. It's like, here's this macho space pilot guy, and he's sitting in his futuristic spacecraft, and he's singing this song from like 1,000 years ago. Nothing's gonna change my love for you, and he fucking delivered. So good.
He really went in on it too.
He did. Yeah,
he was hitting his notes and everything.
So the best part is like, he's the only guy who would record it on video. So instead of me like getting in there and like trying to listen to it in my ear and sit on camera, like staring right at the camera and trying to sync my words to, Jesse doing Gunner or something.
Yeah.
He's got the video. So I take the video and I put it on my phone, and I hold it up to the thing and right in front of the camera, and it syncs. So that's actually his face doing the voice tracking or the face tracking for it, because nobody else. I was like, you guys could do this if you want, and they're like, nah, that's good. And Eric was like, no, you got it. Here's me. So he's in there, and he's got the camera like right in front of his face. He's holding it, but he is going to town on it. He's like, hold me now, touch me now. I don't want to live without you. And so not only am I like, I'm listening to it, I'm like, okay, I'm reading the script and making sure, but I'm watching this guy on video, and he believes. He was like, I am this character. I am singing this song, and I am good.
He goes all in.
I want to get like I gotta find the video. It's on like that hard drive that's busted. That I don't think I can recover it. But I wanted to like take that video and put it side by side with the voice animation or the facial animation for that, and compare the two. It was so good. Oh God,
that would actually be great.
Oh,
little behind the scenes vignette.
Yeah. Oh man, that was Eric Totel. So for those of you that are like, what the f are these guys talking about? Eric Totel is I think he's a retired Cincinnati police officer or something. And so he's got like a shaved head. He looks kind of, he looks like an intimidating police officer, but dude, you fucking nailed it. Oh my God, that was great. Oh man.
It's a good episode. Let's get back to doing those.
Yeah, if the game would stop being polished. And also, like, we got to build up our film crew again in video game.
Need some victims. I mean, volunteers.
Yeah. We got to, like, stop writing scenes with 8 characters on camera.
I go where the scene takes me. It's or a shootout scene where we need like 12 Marines and
okay, that's different though, because that's literally like would just call up Black Widow Company and hey, we're gonna shoot the scene. We need like 15 people. Can you do it? Like, yeah, I got it. I'm talking about like fucking what's his name?
Pogue.
Poindexter dude writing a scene where he's got like all 8 characters in there at the same time, and it's like
everybody sit at the same table.
I gotta have 8 people with FOIP in the same and everybody's FOIP has got to be working so they can see each other, their lips moving, the characters' lips moving, and I got to be able to see all 8 of them, and I'm recording it. That guy's never writing another episode again.
You say that like once a month.
Because it makes me so mad. Because everything, I'm like, okay, I need to get back into film stuff. What do I got on the table? And I'm like, I'm 2 years overdue on episode 6. Let's just get that done. And then I get in the script and I'm like, fuck, I need 8 people. Fuck.
Oh, it sucks. 90% of it was done.
I mean, so I could realistically just download it off of YouTube and then take that and edit it, but I think reshooting it would be the smartest thing because of all the changes and whatnot.
Yeah, the engine has improved, the graphics have improved, the character models have improved. We should really be taking advantage of that.
Like, what are these dorks talking about? Can you guys talk about politics again? Brand dilution. I remember one guy in the comments was like, Sarge, I'm concerned about your brand dilution. Okay, well, I'm not, so fuck off. Why are you talking about military stuff? Talk about politics. I don't want to hear about your vacation to France. I don't care.
Talk about
your own goddamn live stream, asshole.
I'm here to hear about your big vacation to France.
How did we get 80,000, 70,000? How many subscribers do we have? I don't even know.
79,600, I think.
Yeah. Like, how do these guys get all those subscribers when he keeps telling people to fuck off?
That's what people tune in for.
Part of my charm.
Abuse.
Oh, God.
Meanwhile, like my channel has like 180 subscribers, and that's it. I turn out like 2 videos a year.
And they're all Star Citizen related.
Almost. One of my most popular is a how to fix a bug that used to come up in Baldur's Gate 3. There was an issue that came out.
Game related.
Yeah, it was still yeah, absolutely. But it wasn't all Star Citizen. But it was that one thing for Baldur's Gate 3 that was like, hugely successful video. Lots of people see it. My stuff is. Oh, 6 people watch my video. Yeah, that's a new high. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I remember we did a live stream of Star Citizen, and it was just us walking around the Polaris, and people were like, "What the hell is this crap?" Like, "Oh, Sons of Liberty is live streaming during the day. I gotta go check this." What the?
Worst thing ever.
Oh man, I'm excited to have Chris Goldsmith on here. Like
yeah, that's gonna be a cool show.
I have been starting to get spun up on like who all the various people are in the YouTube live stream or podcast, whatever you want to call it, sphere with, like with the political stuff and veteran stuff that's not hardcore nationalist. And so when they linked us up with Ken, and he's like, "Yeah, Chris Goldsmith," and I was like, "Oh, I know who that is." And then I did some more reading, and I was like, "Oh, what?" And now he's in my email, like, "Hey, let's do a live stream." Okay, try not to fangirl.
Yeah.
I want to get Brent Terhune. He's another comedian. He was doing some satirical MAGA truck rant things, but his was like so blatantly over the top obvious, whereas mine was just like clickbait title, and then you get in there and it's like, "Fuck Donald Trump."
I mean, it's not crazy if it works, right?
Yeah. I read an article where apparently Brent got some of his buddies together, and they went out and they were polling people on things, but they were like, so they would go ask MAGA people about policies, and like, "What would you say if I told you that Barack Obama said this or did this?" And then they just gave him like recent Trump quotes. He's like, "Yo, I'm sorry, my mistake. That was Donald Trump." And people were like, "You son of a bitch." So that guy's great.
So we couldn't do that with you unless we got you like a security detail to go along with it.
Right.
People
remember when I was the very first time that I did the Confederate Heritage Month videos in the Sherman cosplay, and I was like, I want to buy a flamethrower, and I want to like just walk around downtown Atlanta dressed like this, carrying the flamethrower, see what happens. Like, I was gonna trim my beard and dye out some of the gray, so that I get like a short ginger beard, and I was gonna like walk around. I had short hair at the time, and I was gonna go be General Sherman wandering around Atlanta.
I do remember there were several ideas back in the day that were written off as, "No, that's probably going to get you killed." No, that's
right.
No.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna. No, I would just like go to the area where like the conventions are, and I would probably get arrested for carrying a flamethrower, but I don't think that's actually legal.
I mean, it's Georgia, right?
Okay, fair. Yeah, right. No, yeah. I mean, I went to a Black Lives Matter protest with some friends, and we were armed, and we went specifically to support the Black Lives Matter things, and nobody fucked with us. But I think if you wandered around Atlanta carrying a flamethrower, dressed as General Sherman, people would take that a little more seriously, because of, I don't know, a long-standing
tradition,
fear of fire. It's ingrained in Atlanta's DNA. It's a guy shows up wearing a federal overcoat and carrying a torch, and you're like, "Nope, not happening again." I wanted to make that a stretch goal for that failed abortion of a crowdfunded thing that we were going to do. People were like, "You guys should do more videos." I'm like, I don't want to do Confederate Heritage Month videos every month of the year. Like, I need other things to do, which is how we ended up doing live streams and rant videos. So when we asked people, we were like, what should we do? And they're like, you should do more like Civil War history stuff, because this was in the middle of the Confederate Heritage Month thing. So we're like, okay, well, if we do this, we have to crowdfund it. People are like, yeah, you should definitely do that. And then we got like 5% funded. It was fucking awful. But I was like, okay, let's just get the 25%, and then I'll talk about the stretch goal. The first stretch goal, I was going to be like, all right, stretch goal is going to be enough to purchase this flamethrower. I found like this inexpensive
flamethrower.
Functional.
As one
It's one of those farmers use them to like clear their back 40 or whatever real fast or whatever. They're reliable, but they don't. It's not the military backpack with the giant thing. It's the portable torch, like a butane tank or something. I don't know. And I was like, okay, so this one costs like $1,500, so we'll just make the stretch goal like $1,700 to cover like shipping or whatever. And we didn't even get that far, but that was going to be my big thing. Was like, it's going to be a picture of me in the costume. I was going to Photoshop myself holding like a World War II Flammenwerfer or whatever thing or shit like that, and being like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We didn't even get that far, so hopes and dreams are
See
crushed.
you walking around through Atlanta with it, big cigar. Y'all know where I can find some Confederates?
Yeah. Like, I don't even see, because it was like 1860 something. Who the hell knows what William Tecumseh Sherman actually sounded like? Did he have like a deep voice, or did he have like a high nasal reedy voice? Kind of like, okay, we're gonna go to Atlanta, we're gonna burn it down, and then we're gonna march to Savannah. Or was he like, all right, we're gonna go to Atlanta, we're gonna burn the motherfucker down, and we're gonna go to Savannah, and then we're gonna go to Columbia, and we're gonna go to Raleigh? Like, what did he sound like? So I don't know how that would go. I imagine him sounding like the dude in There Will Be Blood. Like, I'm William Sherman. I'm going to burn this seat to the ground.
Acceptable.
Anyway,
we'll give you time to work on the impression. You got a couple months yet, so if 6 weeks.
Are we that close to Confederate Heritage?
Yeah. So we got to start getting the post ready, because we're going to inflame some people.
Oh yeah, but there's like a whole new generation of Fam of Liberty that have never seen any of that before. So it's like,
That's true, and we've got,
even though if you go into our video history and look at the very first things that we posted, it was like Confederate Heritage Month videos and stuff, and then
that is what definitely took off, and also induced so much rage. You just were
the Facebook
triggering
post
Confederates left and right.
Yeah. It was the original, the Facebook page that we had before it got taken down. Those were getting like millions of views every time we put them up, and people would they would go back. It would be like February 2023, and they're going back to like April 2021 to post because they saw a thing, and they're like, you motherfuckers you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, bro, this post is 2 years old. What do you could find this exact same post 2 years later. Why not go to that one? Why go to this one?
And they would leave you their dissertation on
oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
My absolute all-time favorite of all time was, I was talking about Dominic something. I can't remember his last name. His first name is Dominic, and he was one of the very first black officers. And I think the reason that he was an officer was because he was like in a volunteer unit. He wasn't like Union Army. He was like, Bob Johnson's 35th Irregulars, Volunteers, Cavalry, something. But this guy, he had the uniform, and he had these enormous revolvers. These were not like your standard little, or even that. These were like fucking hand cannons. This guy he was packing like howitzers with a handle, and he's holding them, and he's got these giant holsters that are made custom for these two pieces that he's got. And I'm posting them. I'm like, so this is Lieutenant Dominic blah 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 Matthews something John 3:16, I don't know. And he was one of the first black officers, whatever. Some dude gets in there in the comments and he's like, "Oh, you're a liar. You don't know what you're talking about. There were no black people who were allowed to be officers in the Civil War." And I'm like, bro, this literally came from his Wikipedia page. You could pull that. He's like, Wikipedia is not a good source of information. I'm like, okay, well, see, that's where you're wrong, because it cites all of the historical sources, so you can go look and see, like the Encyclopedia Britannica and such and such. And so he's like, no, this is a black Confederate. And I'm like, what? So first of all, you're saying there were no black officers in the Union, but now you're saying that this guy who's clearly wearing a uniform that has U.S. on the belt buckle and U.S. on the holsters, and is clearly listed as being recognized as a Union officer, you're saying that he's Confederate. And he's like, yes, and here's my sources. So he goes on to list all these books, right? And one of the books that he lists, I had on my bookshelf, literally looking right at it as I'm reading this. I'm like, Kevin Levin, The Search for Black Confederates. What? I pick up the book, and I read this book cover to cover because I know Kevin Levin's work, because when I was doing research for this Western that I was working on, I wanted to make sure that I was not talking out of my arse about things. So I got his book, and I got like a whole bunch of other books. So I pull up the book. I'm like, are you talking about this book? I took a selfie. It's like, holding the thing. Here's the book. Me with the book. And not only is this guy never in it, but the purpose of the book is his historical search to find any kind of documentation whatsoever of black people having served in the Confederate Army, period. Under any circumstance other than was somebody's mule driver guy. He wanted to find a rifleman or a cavalry officer or something, and couldn't find anything. And all the pictures that people swore up and down were like black Confederates or whatever, he debunked them. And he's like, this photograph is what they're showing you and telling you that it is, but this is the actual photograph, and this is what it really is. And you can see that they've colored it to make these uniforms look like Confederate uniforms, et cetera, et cetera. So the guy in our argument in the comment section is citing a book that I have as justification for him saying that there are black Confederates, when literally that entire book is about there are no black Confederates. I'm like, do you even know how to read? Like, you can, because you're typing on the internet. But I don't think that you've ever cracked a book in your life, because, and if you did, you certainly wouldn't have cited this one, and then listed like two other ones that I didn't have them on me, but I'd read them, and I'm like, those books didn't even talk about that. So what that was the quality comments that we got inevitably were, and I started using like hashtags that I saw on like Sons of Confederate Veterans posts. Like, I would take their hashtags and use them in our posts so that our stuff would show up on their feed.
Yeah.
And these guys would get so fucking mad. Oh my God.
I don't remember which
amazing
post it was, but dude had written out like, his manifesto about why you were wrong, and your response was just K, and his all in caps, giant thing. Fuck you.
Oh, yeah, it was. That's my other favorite thing. It's like I'm like, if it just says read more, and I gotta click read more, and if I click read more and it's more than that, if it goes read more and then it's like this or that, I'm like, I'll just put K and then move on with my day. I'm not going to sit at my desk and read some. Like, I don't know you. I don't owe you to really. You're on my page. this is not a two-way street here. I put up the content. You either read it or you don't. If you do read it and you comment, if your comment is stupid, I'm going to make fun of you. I'm going to screenshot it and put it in a video or put you on the wall and hashtag famouser. Or I'm just going to be like, K, and move on with my fucking day, because I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here to post content, to shit post, and to troll, period. End of story. Well, now I make videos out of stuff, but
yeah. You used to.
That pisses people off, too. That and when we set it so that only established followers come in, they're like, why won't you let me curse you and call you racist things? Oh, I don't know, because fuck you, that's why.
We're the ones who come on.
First Amendment rights is being violated.
First of all, wrong. Yeah.
And second of all,
yeah, life's tough, and then you die.
What are you going to do about it? You going to cry?
Cry more in the comments.
Cry more in the comments, please. I'm going to put all of them together, and I'm gonna fucking
a highlight video.
I'm gonna put on some eyeliner and some lipstick, and I'm gonna put on some clip-on earrings, and I'm gonna tuck my beard in my shirt, and then I'm gonna wear a wig, and I'm gonna be like, you won't let me type things at you, so I'm gonna mock you with my little boy voice, and I'm gonna have a great time, and I'm gonna get 0 cents from it because we're not monetized, but I'm gonna get 3 million views just from mocking you, stupid piece of shit. That is Confederate Heritage Month for me. That's what Confederate Heritage for me is, shitting on you. The way that
that's what you at home
shit on the Confederacy. Oh God, April's gonna be lit. I don't want it to be April yet. I want to enjoy the cold weather, but I can't wait for it to be. I can't wait for it to be April. So good.
There'll be a lot of tears to harvest. There always is.
Do you think I should I just take out the old videos and reload them, re-upload them, or should I do them all over again? What do you think?
I mean, I think you could do some new ones, but some of the old ones, it works this year as much as it did 2 years ago. So why wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, we try to keep every time I post them, I will go through and make sure that whatever we're putting, it doesn't have outdated shit in there. And sometimes I'll miss one, or I will have written it on this day 37 years ago, and now it's on this day 39 years ago, and people are like, "Oh, you got the math wrong, you dumb fuck."
Yeah, yeah. Anytime we have a meme like that, we're recycling something, and it's that wasn't 57 years ago. That was 59 years ago. How dare you? Misinformation.
First of all, I'm drinking, and second of all, I'm smoking. So, and third of all, I failed math in high school. So, go fuck yourself, baby. I will own up to it. If we make a mistake, I'm gonna be like, okay, you know what? You're right. That was my mistake. Sorry, it's been corrected.
Because we do fuck up. Math. Math is hard. Math is really hard.
Yeah. Or apple juice.
I'm so mad about the apple juice. I still don't buy the apple juice story. But whatever. Officially, it's apple juice.
That was totally apple juice.
How would you know?
Okay.
Did you open the bottle of Mott's for him? He said so on his webpage. Oh, the credibly accused alcoholic said he wasn't drinking bourbon; he was drinking apple juice. Oh, I guess that pretty much settles it, right? That's pretty much settled law now. That's how that works. All right.
I'm not gonna lie though, I've enjoyed some apple juice as an adult. Just a really cold glass of apple juice. Oh, so good at the right time. But yeah, I don't see people in MAGA world being like, "Hey, let's go have some apple juice."
In the middle of a conference while you're telling off all the European military leaders.
We're going to go to Europe and show them how manly we are and drink apple juice.
Apple juice. But people are vehemently defending it. Just, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's wild. Who cares? the guy's drinking. Like, celebrate that. Don't lie about it.
Yeah.
Own it. Fucking
Yeah.
look what I'm doing. That's water, actually. At this point, I need to go like make another one, but the stream's over. So
That's true. I mean, nothing stops you from drinking more.
yeah, but then I have to like get up and go in the kitchen or
I feel
whatever.
like Mrs. Edmund Tim might help you out there.
Fuck no. She'd be like, you. No. Mm-mm. I would have to like done something really really great, like buy 7 dozen roses or something. I don't know. I would never do that. 'Cause she hates that. But like for her to just randomly walk up and be like, "Here, have a drink that I made you," I would be suspicious. I would be like,
What's in this one? Antifreeze?
What's in this? It's my fingers. Nice. Yeah.
All right. We better wrap up before we get you in any serious trouble. Somehow we still have 171 people watching. That's astounding.
I can't explain that at all, but yeah.
Oh, it's just you and Matt.
Yeah. We're the only people here. Definitely no audience.
Just sticking it out to the end.
Everybody. She can't see you if you don't move.
We're just about to wrap it up.
Oh, well, have a good night, Matt.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna figure out when we're gonna have Chris Goldsmith on. I'm waiting on him to reply to the email, and then that'll most likely be our next live stream. Where's Mikey?
He's in the chair.
Oh, he's in the chair.
I know, that's why I moved the box, because he's never in the chair. He's a nice.
Yeah, there he is.
All right, you got your Mikey fix, okay? Just gonna do a live stream where it's just gonna have to be him sleeping, put the camera on.
That's what you can do, and watch
And
it.
he'll be like,
ends up with 250,000 views. Most reshared video of the year for us.
the biggest Sons of Liberty video ever was not that the angry veteran rants about Tim Walz in a truck, but it was actually Mikey.
Mikey sleeping for 10 hours.
Yeah. I'll be over here at my desk working, and I'll just like randomly turn on the camera and then move it over there on this little cat tower and set it up.
That's what the people want. Honestly, it's what the people want.
Clearly, I get it. If he is not in a video, even if it's like me starting out, I'm like, "What's up, Family of Liberty?" He's like, "I'm out." I will get lit up in the comments by at least 10 people. They'll be like, "Where's working?" And that's fair. Yeah, people come. They have certain expectations. They want to hear me swear.
And they want to see Mikey. That's
they
just
want
how
to
this
hear
works.
the words "MAGA fuckface ass clown," and
As
they want
one
to see
does.
as in Mikey.
Also, Velveeta Voldemort. That's another popular one.
Oh, and 2 claps and a Rick.
Of course, 2 claps and a Rick.
If they
She
don't
gets
get
it.
that, like,
All right. And on that note.
yeah. All right. It's time to end the stream. Now that Jessica Denson is off and I've started swearing prolifically.
As is the way of your people.
I'm honestly shocked that I made it a whole 55 minutes and then accidentally said something.
Yeah, I don't know if I've heard you talk for 55 minutes without swearing, honestly.
There were some points where I was like, and then I said to that son of a biscuit eater. I caught myself a couple of times and I was like, I remember. I was going to write a note. Is actually what I was going to do and paste it on the monitor right here. But when I started having those issues right at the very beginning with the microphone like not playing at all, like the sound was not, but people were hearing like the speakers coming through. I was like, what? So yeah. I don't know how to explain that one because I literally like 10 minutes prior to that was doing like mic check and sound check or audio check or whatever, video, sound, audio. What the really? I need another drink. Is what I need.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it's definitely gets cut off. That.
Oh, and he's cut off.
Okay, everybody have a good evening.
All right, see you, folks.
Claps and Rick.
Woo! I don't do those well.